Welcome, gamer boys and gamer gals, to welcome to the very first ever Wilson's Wacky Tech Reviews. I'm sorry for the intro, I thought it would be funny. But today we're comparing the Razer DeathAdder V3 Pro to the Logitech G Pro X Superlight. Why are these names so long and confusing? Now I'm not like a tech guy. I don't normally do like reviews on tech stuff. I just thought it would be interesting since I've had experience with both of these mice and they're both like a pinnacle of beautiful, great mice for CSGO. I thought it'd be interesting for me to compare them through my experience with them as a CSGO player. Let's start with the price. Now, both of these mice are going to cost you a pretty penny. The G Pro X is $140 on Amazon right now, and the Razer DeathAdder is $146. So they're both quite expensive. But what is nice is that they're both very similar, so the price doesn't really have to play a role in my comparison between the two in this video. Now, in terms of the sensors, I have no fucking idea what I'm talking about. I don't know how sensors work. I don't know the technology at all. What I do know, based on watching YouTube videos from people who actually know what they're talking about, is that the Razer sensor is really unique and really well made, and that it's the best on the market right now. So I'll link videos down below that compares the sensors in an accurate and interesting way, because I'm not going to do that. What I will say in my experience is that the DeathAdder does feel incredibly crisp and accurate, and the G Pro X does as well. But if I had to like pick one in my brain, I would say the DeathAdder felt a little bit better, but I don't know. That might just be biased. That might not be true. I don't know if I can feel the difference between two excellent mouse sensors, so take that with a grain of salt. Now, both of these mice come in at a whopping 63 grams, which is incredibly light. It's so strange, like picking it up, because it just subverts your expectations, because it's a whole shell. You know, it's not that like honeycomb, like, look at me, I'm a lightweight mouse design. And coming from the G502 Hero, which is, you know, a really heavy mouse, but I used it for like 8 years. I loved it. And switching from that to the G Pro X, it blew my mind. I did not know what the hype was around lightweight mouses. Lightweight mice are, but now I get it, because it's like it allows you to forget that you're using a mouse, which to me is the end goal in all of my peripherals. I do not want to think about the setup at all while I'm playing. You know, if I'm consciously thinking about the mouse that I'm using while I'm playing, that's gonna screw me up. I do not want to have to think about anything except the game, right? The buttons on both mice are great, but here I marginally prefer the V3. On the G Pro X, you have two side buttons, and they're great. They feel nice, they're ticky, they have a good response to them, but they're pretty small, and oftentimes I would end up accidentally pressing both of them at the same time. On the V3, you have the same two side mouse buttons, but they're quite a bit bigger, and it's easier for me to drag my finger up to touch them than it is for me on the G Pro X. One big thing here is that I use the back mouse button as my push to talk, and lots of times I'll end up in a gunfight while I'm using push to talk, and so it's important to like kind of feel comfortable aiming while you're pushing that button down, which for me, it's always felt not comfortable at all, especially on the G Pro X Superlight. I don't know why, it just felt like it didn't feel good. But with the Razer, because the button is much bigger, my grip doesn't have to change nearly as much to be able to hold it and to aim. And so that's my experience. I'm sure other people may disagree with that, but that's how it feels to me. In terms of the actual mouse buttons, they're both great. They feel great. The big difference here is that for the V3 Pro, I feel like you have to be a little more purposeful about clicking the button. Like the actuation point is just a bit further, which I actually prefer, because for CS, you're gonna do a lot of tapping. You have to be really precise with your mouse button. And so lots of times with the G Pro X, I would accidentally like tap twice in a row, do that boop boop without meaning to, or I would just randomly just shoot while I'm doing something, because with the Superlight, it is very easy to click, and it's very easy to click fast. And with the DeathAdder, it's the same thing, but I feel like you just have to push a little bit more. You have to be a bit more intentional, which is what I prefer about the buttons with the DeathAdder. Now, this is the big one. It's the shape. So while I was playing with the G Pro X, really the only gripe I had about it was the size. It always felt just like a tad bit too small to me. I'm a bigger guy with kind of bigger hands, and so having a smaller mouse, you know, it causes some issues. Like when I'm aiming, I'll drag my fingers on the mat with the mouse because it's just not tall enough for me to grip properly with the grip that I like to use. So you see my pinky, my fingers would drag on the mat while I'm moving it. But because of the ergonomic big curvaceous shape of the Death Adder, I don't have that problem anymore. I can have my fingers completely on the mouse and not have them dragging around with it. And then also with this, the shape of it just fits my grip much better. I wouldn't know exactly what I would call my grip, maybe a claw palm grip. But my point is, with the kind of grip that I have and with the size of my hands, this mouse is just beautiful. It just fits me so well. Now, both mice came with grip tape, and that is awesome. I really like the Razer Death Adder's grip tape because it's got this kind of meshy cross hash design to it that makes it really grippy, right? The Superlight has this kind of like, it's hard to even see it, but it has this luxurious kind of leather feel to it that's really nice. It feels high-end, but it doesn't feel as grippy as the Death Adder's because it doesn't have that cross hashing to it. So again, I kind of prefer the Death Adder's grip, but the G Pro X still feels really nice. So in terms of my experience with these mice, I think just switching to a lightweight mouse, switching from the G502 to the G Pro X just blew my mind. It's amazing. And then it blew my mind again once I got the Death Adder V3 Pro, because it's just like everything the G Pro does, but in a better shape. It just fits me so much better. And all the small little things that I've talked about, the buttons, the grip, everything, it just beats it out just by a little bit for me. I'm pumped about this mouse. It feels amazing, and I'm super excited to play with it for like years. However, in terms of like the final verdict, if I had to like objectively try to pick one, I don't think I could. They're both absolutely amazing. I think what it really comes down to is just the shape. Do you prefer this more kind of eggy, smooth, lower profiled mouse, or do you prefer a more ergonomic, bigger, a little bit chunkier mouse? I think that's really the most important part. All the other stuff I talked about should be minuscule in comparison to the shape of it. So if you're bigger hands like me and you've come from, you know, maybe more ergonomic mice like I did with the G502, then I would say the V3 is your best shot. Maybe you prefer the more ambidextrous feel, the smaller mouse, than the Logitech G Pro is your answer. So I think when it really comes down to it, they're both absolutely amazing, and it's just the shape that really determines it for me. Thanks for watching. This was kind of a weird video. I don't really do these. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was interesting. Please subscribe, like the video. Thank you to my members. Ooh, they're scrolling on by. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Good luck and have fun on all your future games. Peace.